What's up, friends? One of the most popular questions that I've been getting is, Brian, how do I make a splash, or what do I do when I first get onto the app? So this video, this advice is for those that are just starting. Maybe you just signed up within the last week onto Clubhouse. And yes, there's gonna be lots of people that are gonna tell you, just start your own room, press the damn button. I mean, that's the name of my podcast. And there's, the importance of having a good bio and filling out your bio and making sure your profile picture, like those are all things that I believe are important. But I actually think more important than really, figuring out those like nuances is I believe the first thing you should do when you get on the app is start searching around and playing around, popping into rooms and just getting a feel for the vibe that exists there. How are people asking questions? How are the rooms being moderated? And then I really suggest jumping into that search functionality, right? So the search functionality is at the top of the app here. So you would just simply click up at the top. Let me turn down the brightness a little bit. You click at the top and you're able to actually search for any keywords or topics. And it's gonna come up with people and clubs. And so what I'm gonna recommend is that pick a couple people, I'd say 10 to 20 people, and follow them, but turn the bell on that's next to their name, right? So when you follow them, you can actually click the bell, which will push a notification for you every time they enter a room. Now here's the thing that I want you to do. It's not just following them around, but follow them down, look at the rooms that they're jumping into, and then this is what I want you to really focus on, is listen to the questions that are being asked and how are they being received, right? Are people, is it creating dialogue? Is it kind of one-off where it seems kind of stuffy? Like think about that piece and start logging. Like I have a spreadsheet over here that I'm not gonna show you the actual spreadsheet because it's a little bit of a hot mess. But I have a spreadsheet where I'm starting to log what are the questions people are asking. And then one of the things I'm trying to figure out is what is the theme of these questions? What is the either what's not being asked, or really, what is the overall umbrella that a lot of these things are being asked? I think too often we start, on a new platform and we think it's all, we have to okay, what can I share? What is my knowledge? I would argue one of the things that you can do is figure out by listening and jumping into rooms, what is missing from the conversation, or where can you add an authority to the conversation that hits a lot of the most popular points, right? Like imposter syndrome is one that comes up in every room, no matter really the topic. Things like authenticity, vulnerability, things like community. These are all words that are trending and people talk about a lot. But creating a room on the app that just says community or let's build a community, it's so common on there that it's not going to really attract any eyeballs. But if you break one down and say, building a community in the real estate market for those that are local, I can guarantee that room would blow up with the right amount of people. And so I think the first thing you want to do when you jump on the app is follow some of the people that you believe are going to lead you into rooms, and then really try to chart. I actually put it into a spreadsheet. I have 161 questions from influencer marketing of things that either the questions jumped out at me or I never heard anyone ask the question that way. And partially because I can create content on all of those for other channels, but also now I have a really good feel. If I'm creating a room about influencer marketing, I understand if it's what's oversaturated and what are the themes that I can bring in there. The second part of this is I believe asking great questions is the way that you quickly grow in this app, right? So actually I would say there's two things. Asking great questions and focusing on collaboration. Asking great questions, and what I mean by that is when you jump in a room, and yes, you might know the topic, wait to raise your hand for about 20 minutes, get a feel, and then understand okay, what is that moderator really vibing about? What are the other people really connecting with, right? Because when you're asking that question, you really want to phrase it and frame it in a way that facilitates dialogue, right? Because it's not about highlighting you on the app. Rather, it's about facilitating dialogue and conversation, because we hear this word value on Clubhouse all the time, but really what people are looking for is that idea of information, being inspired, being motivated, and ultimately being educated in many places. So I really do think focus on questions, right? And there's lots of websites that are available for you to kind of hone in your questions, but I really think listen into the room, get the vibe of the room, and focus on asking great questions. I mean, the number one business opportunity I've got from Clubhouse happened for me asking one question in one room. Had nothing to do with anything else. It was, I was methodical with that question. I asked that question. I looked at every moderator's bio. I went to their Instagram account. I even looked them up on LinkedIn to understand who they were, what they were all about. So when I asked the question, I wasn't kissing butt or what wasn't really going, I didn't say hey, this is the research I did, but I knew what they each cared about. So when I asked the question, I knew it was going to hit home with all 5 moderators, and all 5 ended up chiming in. The last one here, and as the second one that I said was, is, easiest to embrace for, not only fast growth, but for, kind of, let's just say, getting more people involved in the conversation that you're having is collaboration. I mean, it goes back to, it goes back to jab, 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 right hook. Like my book is over there. Oh, here it is, right here. Let's go. I'll segue. We'll go back to Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, right? Give value, give value, give value, make an ask. For me right now, I think I have 140 direct messages on Instagram that I'm trying to catch up on from last night. And the ones that stand out to me aren't the ones that the very first time they message me are asking, hey, I want to moderate a room with you. The ones that stand out to me, like, Brian, I loved the room on mental health yesterday. So great. I enjoyed you sharing your ADHD story. I look forward to connecting more. And then maybe tomorrow they drop in and say, hey, I don't know if you know, but I also talk about ADHD and I really loved this perspective. Do you have any other content on this? Then I share them my podcast episode. And then let's say Monday of next week, they jump into my DMs and say, Brian, I'm loving all this focus on mental health and ADHD. I was wondering, would you like to co-moderate a room with me? I will guarantee I say yes 100% to that piece, right? Jabbing, giving value, showing me that you care, also connecting the dots, right? Not just saying, hey, Brian, I see in your bio that you're a live streamer. Like, really listen and learn. And then when you make that ask, people are going to say yes, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing. And then the last part of that with moderating, also don't be afraid to volunteer to moderate a room that's not on your subject matter expertise. Because not only does it give you an opportunity to be on stage and learn from how people are moderating, but it also gives you an idea of how other people are having conversations. I think too many people are like, Brian, I'm in social media and I got in all social media marketing rooms and they're all full of crap. I'm like, well, most of them are. But there's some good ones, but I would actually tell you to go into rooms on mental health or rooms on women empowerment or rooms on breaking down the racial divide and listen to how those conversations are facilitated, how those rooms are moderated, and then create a social media room that is modeled after that. We too often, and especially on Clubhouse, we're looking and listening and only paying attention to the silo that we play in. And we have the rest of the social media world to do that with. For me, being very strategic and methodical about going into rooms, listening and learning and tracking what are the questions being asked, what are the styles of conversations that are happening, and then ultimately, where is that thread that I can add value, not only in the way that I ask questions, but creating rooms and collaborating with others. I've said this forever, that I believe the future of innovation is collaboration. And I believe the future of business is community. Clubhouse is all about both of them, but they both require time. They both require a strategy. And most importantly, they both require you being your authentic self and truly, truly putting in the time to invest in both of them. Hope that helps. Check out the next episode. Cheers.